Hi team, today's text is called Wild Things. I see a picture of what looks like the Earth, a very blurry map that's zooming in on the Himalayas and showing us where we live in the United States. And I see a heading right away that says, Scientists discover hundreds of plants and animals in Asia. Wow, sounds very interesting. And then as I scroll down, I see one more heading and then some pictures, and it looks like this section, Spot the Species, is going to show me those plants and animals that were discovered. So scientists discover hundreds of plants and animals in Asia, and this is called Wild Things. So I'm already thinking about the genre. I'm noticing that there's headings, and I'm noticing it's talking about things that are real. The picture is of a map, which usually tries to give me information. And I'm noticing like numbers and pronunciations and information about scientists, which tells me that this was written to teach me factual information about discoveries that have been made in Asia of plants and animals. So you're going to read through this. Don't forget you can click the play button and listen while you read along. Check out these cool new animal finds. And then you're going to click on the questions. Let's think through the questions, and then you're going to answer them after you read the text. What is special about the monkey that was discovered in the Himalayas? Well, the text told you that. Go back to the text, find the part about the monkey discovered in the Himalayas, and pick the answer that is true and was told to you in the text. Number 2, which of the following does the author describe last in the text? Okay, go to the end of the text, see what he describes last. If you need to, read each answer choice and ask, is this last? Is this last? Is this last? And keep going until you find the one that was described last. We know last is toward the end. Read these sentences from the text. The researchers uncovered flowers and a snake. They also found a monkey. It is the first new type of monkey to be discovered in more than 100 years. Based on this information, what conclusion can you draw about the living things scientists found? Okay, that means like what of these answers makes sense based on what they were told you. So when you conclude something, you figure it out, you determine it based on what you were told and based on what makes sense in your brain. So you need to reread these 3 sentences. You need to think about what they're saying and what it's teaching you. And then you need to think, which one of these seems true and makes the most sense that matches what they just taught you? What can be inferred from the text? We know that when you infer, you make a really strong guess about what's happening and maybe why something's happening. So when we infer from the text, we're going to think about everything the text taught us, and then we're going to read these answers and think which one makes the most sense and matches everything we learned in the text. Which one is the best guess as to like what's happening and what makes the most sense? Which of these matches what we learned? A, B, C, or D? Number 5, what is this text mostly about? You should have written your main idea after reading. You should have written that this was mostly about those plants and animals discovered in Asia, and they were very specific about what part of Asia the discoveries were in. Read those 4 and think which was the text mostly about. Number 6, read these sentences from the text. Another discovery is the leaf deer. It is the world's smallest deer. It is only about 25 to 30 inches tall. Oh my goodness, that sounds so cute. Researchers found the animal in the nearby country of Myanmar. In these sentences, what does the word researchers mean? Okay, context clues. We are figuring out how to do this. We've been practicing this a lot. We're going to replace the word researchers with each of these choices: mountains, scientists, loggers, doctors. And we're going to read this whole paragraph or these couple sentences. And we're going to replace that word researchers with each of these, thinking, does that make sense? Is that what they were trying to say? Is researchers the same as mountains? Is researchers the same as scientists? And keep going and find the one that makes the most sense. What means the same thing that they meant? What matches researchers? Okay, now, these have been kind of tough for us, and it's even been tough for me to explain, but it's because we need to learn about our transition words. So I'm going to try to explain these really clearly today and get better at it every time I do one of these with you. Choose the word that best completes the sentence. So once again, we have 2 parts of a sentence, And they could almost be their own sentence. But instead of putting a period and making two different sentences, they're using a transition word to connect these two sentences into one sentence. When we use transition words, they mean something. We use transition words a lot when we talk and when we write and when we read. We should read both parts of the sentence and then think which one of these connects those the right way. So, when I say the word because tells me that blank, 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 because blank, blank, blank. So that tells me that the first part of the sentence happened because of the second part. So it's like this second part was the cause. And because this happened, this first part is what's true. So when you use the word because to separate two ideas, you're saying that like, because this first thing happened and it was because of this second thing. Okay? Now, so is very similar to because, but it's almost like the opposite. So is going to tell you cause and effect, but in the other order. So when you use because here, you're saying that like the first thing happened and it was because of the second thing. However, when you use the word so, you're saying that like the second thing happened and it was because of the first thing. Now the word although means like something different. So like although blank, blank. So like although means like even though blank, blank. Okay? And then but means like a very different thing. So like something, something, but something very different. Okay? So if you're using but or although, these two things are very different ideas. And if you're using because or so, these two things are connected. One of them happened because of the other. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is either because or so on this one. So if you click although or but, we know that you didn't watch this video. If you're watching, you know now the answer is either because or so. I'm going to read it and I just want you to think about which one makes the most sense. And then your teacher will give you feedback. Loggers are cutting down trees in the Himalayas. Okay? Those are people cutting down trees in the Himalayas. Blank, many species are losing their habitat. Okay, this is cause and effect. Either this or this is causing this or this to happen. So either many species are losing their home, and because of that, loggers are cutting down trees. And in that case, you would use loggers are cutting down trees in the Himalayas because many species are losing their home. Or this second thing is happening because of the first thing. And if that's the case, you're going to use the word so. Loggers are cutting down trees in the Himalayas, so many species are losing their habitat. Which one makes the most sense? What is actually happening in this sentence? All right. What was recently discovered in the Himalayas? The text told you that. Go find it. Type it out. Blank were recently discovered in the Himalayas. I know because in the text it says. Why could the search for new species in the Himalayas be described as a race against time? Okay. How come them searching for those new species was called a race against time? How are they having to like race against time to find those new species? Go back to the text and find where they talked about it and then think in your brain what makes sense. Do your best.